Hello and welcome. If you are joining us a few minutes early on this webinar of Starting June Strong, we will be starting in just a few short minutes, and thanks for coming on. If you are joining the webinar, we are 2 minutes away from starting, and just grab a pen, grab some paper, and get ready to set some amazing goals and an action plan to achieve them. We are just 1 minute to starting. If you are coming on the webinar, make sure you have some pen and paper handy. I do actually have a worksheet that I can email to you afterwards, but we are going to be starting very shortly here. All right, it is 9:30. Welcome everyone to the Start Your June Strong webinar, and this is for you. This is to create some goals and some action plans for your month of June in your business. And first of all, I'm so excited you are all here, and I'm even more excited and very impressed that you guys are taking this time out to create a plan, to actually look at the goals, look what you need to do in your business and what's going to make the greatest impact. So I applaud you all for being here and taking the time out and knowing how important it is to write down your goals, assess your business, find out what the plans are you need in place, and go out and achieve them. So if you haven't come on early, I've mentioned a few times, make sure you have some pen and paper because you will want to take some notes for yourself. And this is very much, this isn't about me talking the whole time and educating you. This is about you jumping in and really thinking, okay, yeah, I've got to answer that question. What is it? And writing it down. So this is very, very much for you to work on your business, not just in it. You are going to be setting some goals. You're going to know some of the steps to take to achieve them. And you know what? You may also want your calendar handy. I'm old school. I still use my old handwriting one, but maybe it's on your phone. Whatever calendar system you have, please have that handy because you are going to need it. I'm just going to do a brief introduction. Some of you on the line know me and some of you do not. My name is Jody Kennett. I am an Ideas to Launch and Growth business coach. I help people implement their ideas to launch, grow, and create impact. And even more exciting recently, I'm apprenticing to be a Women's Gaia leadership coach, which is helping women in all different roles in life, whether they're executives, whether in their corporate world, whether they are building their business, an entrepreneur, or even a stay-at-home mom and wife, helping women lead their lives and communicate strongly and have some leadership skills. So very excited about that. But I really want today to be about you. So let's jump right in. Are you guys ready? Are you as excited as I am? All right, we're going to start with 3 questions for your business. Don't worry about writing these down. The next screens are going to address all 3, but feel free to take notes as we go along. So here's the first question to start June strong in your business. What is the absolute #1 goal that you want to achieve, or that will make the biggest difference for your business? So take a moment to think about what that is. Some of you will know right away exactly what it is, and the others, you might actually have to think, well, I don't know what that is yet. If you don't know yet, don't worry. You're going to have time to reflect and go back to this. So we're going to want you to find out what the #1 goal is you want to achieve for the month of June for your business that will make the greatest impact for you. #2 question for your business: what is the greatest obstacle, or what has been the greatest obstacle that you are facing in growing your business, in achieving what you want to achieve with it? So I want you to think, that might be an easier question for most of us because we know what we've been struggling with. So we're going to need to know what that is. And lastly, this one is probably the most important because we get so distracted. I know all of us are wearing so many hats, and it's easily to get off track. Here is the question that's so important for you to answer. For your best results, where do you need to focus your energy, your attention, and your efforts? And by focus, I mean it would be your laser. This is the #1 thing I'm going to focus on and put my energy and attention to because it's going to bring me and my business the best results. Take a moment and write that down. We are going to go on to the next screens that go into it, but if you know it, put it down on your piece of paper there. Okay, we're going to dig into the first question here. Knowing what your #1 goal is the first step. But what's really important, and it's amazing how writing this down and actually thinking it through is really going to help you achieve your goal. I want you to write down what the first 3 steps are. And it may not be 3, that's okay. It might be 2, it might be 5. But what are the first few steps that you can take immediately towards that #1 goal? And the reason I'm going to have you write down the steps is, 1, you need to know, okay, what is the first thing I can do? And immediately is what's the easiest first step I can do. Because you take a step and you win at that step, then you can take the next step. So just take a moment to write those down, however many they are. And then the next important piece of actually, after you know the action steps, is you need to look at your schedule and go, where am I going to have time for this? What days, what hours in the days can I do this? Because if your schedule is chock-a-block full and you have this goal set and you know what the steps are, but you have 0 time for it or 0 time scheduled for it, you're not going to be able to accomplish it. Very important to actually plan in your schedule the days you can work on it and the times. So that's something you may come back to later. Now here is a really important first step for you. Piece your project into different steps. So I want you to list out, what is the first part of my project? You know what, if it is doing an event, the very first step might be setting the date, finding a location, okay? And securing that. That is an example. What is the first part of the project? And then give yourself a deadline. We're all working on our own, and there's solopreneurs on the line, there's small business owners on the line. And you know what? When we don't have that CEO or that manager breathing down our neck, we have to be accountable to ourselves. And putting a deadline on it, you're going to get things done a lot quicker. So I want you to look at it and go, realistically, think about your SMART goals. They do need to be realistic for you, but it's also good to have a stretch in there. Give yourself a stretch deadline, but that is still realistic for you. That is step 1. Let's now jump into what is that greatest obstacle that you've been facing in your business. And I want you to kind of just take a moment to reflect and go, why has this been an obstacle for me? And I don't know if that looks like you on the right there, where you're holding up a massive boulder and you're the only person there and you feel you can't move. Like if you move, the boulder's going to go, and you've just been really held back by it. Why has it been an obstacle for you? Okay, we've all been there, we're all in it, and for all different reasons in all different areas of our business. So first of all, knowing what the obstacle is and declaring it, you're halfway there. This is the great news. Now, I want you to have some fun with this. And I know if you are a solopreneur on the line, if you're working on your own, it is sometimes hard to come up with solutions for these if we keep approaching them the same way. So don't be shy to ask someone who you like their business sense, ask someone who has a totally different personality from you to say, hey, this has been my obstacle. Can you help me brainstorm? Because sometimes it's really good to get different minds working on the same problem, and they might think a different way than you and pose a different solution. So here's what I want you to do. I would like you to brainstorm all the options around that obstacle, and I want you to brainstorm a conservative solution to an absolutely outrageous solutions. And try and come up with at least 6. Don't overthink them, just throw them out on paper. Now, I've given you a bit of a framework once you've come up with those. Here's what you want to do. I want you to write down the number one solution that feels comfortable to me is. The next thing I want you to do is a solution that feels like a stretch for me is. That's really important because we're all going to want to go where it's comfortable, but it's really interesting to define what is that stretch goal, and that might be your sweet spot. That might be exactly what you need to do. And lastly, it's the solution I need and must do, the one you know that's going to make a difference, and that could be your first step. Put those all down, and then you'll know where you want to proceed and what the right solution is for you. Okay, moving right along. This one is, I think, the game changer for a lot of us. And it's a big reason why I did today at the beginning of the month. For all of us working on our own, I worked with entrepreneurs and we were in a condensed program together. And then at the very end of it, they said, I wish there was something afterwards, like the momentum of the group and the momentum of the one-on-ones with you. Afterwards, you're on your own and the motivation fades and the focus fades and all that. And so if you can implement where your focus and energy needs to be, this is really going to propel your business forward. So I want you to first of all define, or actually just, honestly look at, where has my time and my efforts been going in my business. So for some of you, it might be just on keeping afloat with a customer service. It could be with, all the product development. And you need to look at what percentage of time is going to that. Is that giving me the results I need? So where are you currently spending your time, your effort, your energy? Now, I want you to go, you know what? I need and want to focus my attention and energy on this in my business. So this brings your attention to, I know what I need to do. I know where I need to focus, where it's going to make the biggest difference in my business. What is that for you? Okay. Now, the third line there, it's really important to a lot of you know Simon Sinek, and he talks about your why. This question addresses that. Putting your attention and focus on this one thing what will it give you? And just knowing how it's going to help your business and understanding that will help you focus your attention there. Once you have answered those 3, what you are going to do is you are going to write it down, and I want this on a sticky note. I want it on your screensaver on your phone, maybe on your laptop, maybe on the mirror in your bathroom, wherever you are going to see it. You need that reminder and that repetition visually and everywhere. Maybe it's in your office somewhere, okay? My top priorities for June are. Because if you write this out and you see it and you check in with it every day, you're going to know what your top priorities are. And if something pops up, you're going to be able to say, nope, because that doesn't align with one of my top priorities. It's going to be a clear decision for you. And it just keeps your focus on exactly what you need and want for your business. I only put 2 there because we are so good at having a really long list. And I think it's super important. Really, it should just be 1. but I know that there's multiple things we're trying to do. So if you need 2 or 3, you can. Just know you might be spreading yourself too thin, so write down your top 2. All right. I really like this because I don't know how often we think about our habits, and we do all schedule things. We're great at making to-do lists, and we're great at penciling certain appointments in. But do we schedule for the things we need most and the things that are going to help us the most? And do we schedule for our priorities that are going to make the biggest impact? So, what are your habits, your schedule, and the practices that you need in place to achieve the goal that you have set out, that number 1 goal? So in the worksheet I'm going to send you, what you can do is think, what are the habits I need to be? And you know what? If it is getting more customers, let's just say one of the habits you might need for that is you might need to have more exposures. And how are you going to do that? It might be at events. It might be online. What are the habits that you're going to do daily and weekly that will help you achieve that goal? And by practice, it's a bit different here. A practice is actually kind of a set of skills that you hone daily, weekly, on a certain schedule. So a practice could be, I mean, all of us are working on it in social media, but a practice could be, I'm going to engage more with my customers. I'm going to provide more value. My practice is going to be doing a live Facebook video or live Facebook. Maybe it's twice a week. So what practices are you going to put in place? And very lastly, once you know your habits and your practice, you are going to need to schedule what your priorities are and what your project is. And one of the great things to do here is time blocking. And with time blocking, you actually go, I'm going to put an hour here for this. I'm going to put 30 minutes, just like you did today. I'm going to start June strong. I'm going to put 15 to 30 minutes aside for this webinar, and I'm going to plan and I'm going to make a strategy to achieve it. So make sure you do some time blocking, especially for your number 1 priorities. And I would do that for the whole month. And if you can make it consistent on specific days, specific times, it's even better, because then it's more of a habit for you. And I really love what it says down there. We first make our habits, and then our habits make us. So true. Okay, the last thing, I could not leave this out because it is an integral part to you succeeding, and it is actually how you are doing personally and what you personally need to succeed with your goals. Because we can work really, really hard, and you may be a workaholic, or you may just be striving to start your business, but you need to also, I should put play on here as well. You need to take care of yourself and know what you need to perform at your best. It's just like you are an athlete in your business. They need to feed their bodies, they need to visualize, they need to mentally have a great mindset. They also have spiritual practices, and you need to be in the right emotion too. So write down anything and everything you need to be at your best, and knowing that is the first step. And then second is, how am I going to implement that into my month so that I can be at my best? I know there can be lots of guilt around this for some people, taking time out to exercise, or indulging, or doing some play activities, whatever it may be. But often it's that point of inspiration, or that point of reflection, or that breakthrough. You need to fill yourselves up so you can give back and serve. So really, really important part of you succeeding here. Here are your next steps. This really was to give you a quick overview, have you take a time out of your business and reflect on what you need most for your business, what may have been holding you back, some of the obstacles, and also what you need to achieve them. So here's just a few extra things you may need and want to do on your own. You may want to set up a project outline. whatever the project is, what are the different steps? Because once you've done that, you can just start with step 1 and move through. And it frees your mind of all the things and the overwhelming part of a project to go, oh, I know exactly what I need to do. Write a list and an outline of what is entailed with your project. What's even more beneficial is creating a timeline. And it doesn't mean that if you don't meet the timeline or the deadline, that's a bad thing. You're just setting the timeline as an approximate and to help move you through it and to check where you're at, and actually to push you to strive a little bit for it, especially when you're, in self-motivation as an entrepreneur and solopreneur. Okay, you'll need your schedule, and we talked about that a lot, and just to write in when you want to complete your goal. And last but not least is tracking your progress and setting up reminders, whether that's in your phone, whether that's with a buddy system. Maybe you have a mastermind that keeps you up to date on these things. Great thing to do as well. So this is just an overview. I didn't want to take too much of your time. I really wanted to keep it around 15 to 20 minutes. So I just want to thank all of you for being here. I hope you have found some really helpful points here and kind of a system, really, to set your goals and know what the action steps are and know what you need to achieve them. If you need any extra help, I am here. My website is there, my email. I love to do strategy sessions with people, and I just really applaud you all for being here at the start of the month, and I can't wait to see what you get done in the month of June, or even just get started and begin, because really getting started and taking the steps through it, that really is the success in and of itself. So thanks again for all of you being here. Go have a fantastic June, and I will look forward to serving you in any way I can.